Welcome to Hoffman's Hunting Heritage.
From Great Lakes to the Heartland, from mountains to the sea, there's a hunting heritage in the blood of folks like you and me. With rut bucks and goblin struts, it's hunting that we love. Mother Nature guides us on this land, and we give thanks up above. This hunting heritage is a bond that never fades away. We're your camo wearing family from across the USA. So fill your cup and listen up, y'all mean so much to me. It's time for the show, so go grab your bow. This is a wild place to be.
Hello and welcome back to a new episode of Hoffman's Hunting Heritage. I'm your host, Bill Hoffman, and this week I've got one of my best friends in the outdoors industry. Her and I go way back over the years with Langia.com. She's doing some really cool new stuff in the outdoors. I've always kind of looked up to her and always been jealous of, let's just say her finding skills. This chick finds mushrooms like you would not believe. This chick finds shed antlers like you would not believe. And oh, guess what? She's a pretty damn good huntress herself. Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome my friend back to the show, Steph Brown. What's going on, sister?
Hey, Billy. Thanks for having me back. It's always a good time when I get to talk to some of my good friends in the outdoor industry and talk about all the fun stuff we both love and share passions for. So glad to be back.
Yeah, thanks, man. It's really interesting you bring that up because if you think about it, you don't really have to know you and I know each other pretty well, but you don't really have to know someone all that well to be friends with them if you're both in the outdoors because we already have so much in common. And I think that kind of goes to like what the show title is the hunting heritage. You were raised with the heritage. I was raised with the heritage. Some people find their own way into the heritage, but it's funny that you mentioned, talking to your friends in the outdoors because I feel like most of my friends are outdoor specific. Would you find that to be the same?
Yeah, for the most part, the majority of my friends, and it's definitely a different level of connection with people. And just like you said, you may not know them, personally or, have known them for years or your whole life. But when you share that bond of having, certain passions for different things, whether it be hunting or foraging or whatever it is, you automatically have this immediate camaraderie.
Exactly. And that's one of the reasons, I definitely always enjoy having you on the show. Not only are you it's great to catch up with you, but you're a good storyteller too. And we're going to, I do have a story that I haven't heard yet from you personally that I do want to get to a little bit later about this crazy shed antler thing that happened with you. But first of all, before we get into that, what's new with you in the outdoor world? What's going on?
Well, I've been spending the last couple months up in the northwest region of Alberta with my boyfriend who runs an outfitting business up here. And it's been quite the experience to be here throughout the season with him this year, through the fall and coming into the winter months. It's really been quite a change from Ohio. But I've been enjoying myself and it's been pretty amazing.
Now, I've never been to Alberta, but you got to have some cool, I know you have moose up there because I've seen you post pictures with the moose, but what was it like had you ever seen a moose just in the wild before, not moving, but visiting up there?
I had, but nothing like what I've experienced this time because I've been on this crazy mission to find moose, just to, capture images of it. And I've been drawn to this wildlife photography thing lately just because of my surroundings and not something, I want to pursue professionally or anything like that. It's just for a personal enjoyment type of thing. But, when you're out scouting and driving around, you see so much, and to be able to capture just a few of those moments and share those with friends and family is really fun, because it brings a lot of joy to other people, is what I found. People have been messaging me and contacting me like, oh my God, your pictures. And, I'm just like, I wish you could be here, because to actually see it with, in person is completely different. The pictures to me don't do it nearly the justice, but it's still fun to get a really good image of something that you saw and be able to share that with someone else.
That is just incredible. Yeah, I've never seen a moose in person. Now, we do have moose in Michigan, but they're only way, way up in the UP or on Isle Royale, and I've never even been to Isle Royale. So I can't imagine what it's like I know you've been to Africa and you've dealt with like Cape Buffalo, and I understand that you've been around some of the bigger, more dangerous games and stuff like that, but there's just something majestic about those damn things, isn't there?
There really is. And I'm captivated every time I see one. And I actually have a moose tag, and I still can't even believe that I have it. Season opens November 1st.
Oh,
here,
man.
So
they're like 4 days away or 5 days away.
Yeah, just like a few days away. And I'm still processing the fact that I might actually get to put my hands on one of these massive animals. And, just the amount of meat and stuff, is like that to me is just like incredible.
And it's so good. It's so yummy.
It is. Moose steaks are probably my most favorite wild game meat that I've ever eaten. So
totally agree.
Yeah,
yep.
I'm like over the top about just being able to possibly fill my freezer, or several freezers for that matter. But and to be able to eat on moose for the next year would be absolutely incredible.
That's awesome. Let's talk about your moose hunt then. It's something I didn't realize. So is this a bow hunt, gun hunt? Do you have a cow tag, bull tag? How are you going to go about doing this?
Well, in Alberta, in this region, it is bull tags only. So you're not allowed to shoot cows up here. So it is a bull tag. There's no restriction on antler size, but it has to be a bull. So we have a specific animal, we're after. So which is going to make it a little bit more difficult. But with the abundance of moose up here, I'm pretty confident that we're going to be able to get the job done. And I would love to bow hunt one. Absolutely would love to. But with the time restraint that we have, I think I'm going to try, just try my best to get one with a rifle.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never rifle hunted, so this is going to be a whole new experience for me.
Oh, that's right, because you guys don't use rifles down in Ohio.
No, never hunted with a rifle. I've only done long range shooting,
Mm-hmm.
and so this is going to be a totally new experience to shoot something. It may not necessarily be at a, extreme long range, but just to shoot something that powerful, in the realm of hunting is going to be just completely new world for me. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Now that's amazing. I'm so pumped for you. And like I said, I didn't know that. I just found out about that. So that's super cool. But so you mentioned you're up there hanging out in northern Alberta, and what other kind of stuff are you guys doing? Like bird hunting, or you got whitetail stuff going on? What else is hot right now up there?
Yeah, so we actually just finished up with the waterfowl season. Top of the Flyway Outfitters mainly is waterfowl.
Okay.
Speckled is one of the major species that people come up here for. Of course, the coveted greenheads, mallard hunting up here is amazing. Duck hunting in general, and the Canada geese, of course, and then. It's been a crazy season. Incredible waterfowl migration this year. And we did have one day in particular where there was a bunch of snow geese that came in, which isn't the norm up here for snow geese to come in. So we went and did a fun shoot one day with the snow geese. And so that's been a whole new experience for me as well. Never been a waterfowl hunter. But I'm in a relationship with, someone who lives and breathes waterfowl. So I kind of had to, jump in and get my feet wet, over the last year or so. And it's, it's a totally different way of hunting. And it's really fast paced, and it is a lot of work. I never would have realized, but it is more work than any other type of hunting that I've ever done.
I agree. Like, maybe I'm a sissy waterfowl hunter, or maybe I just like chasing deer more, but like I enjoy shooting geese September 1st every year in Michigan, wearing tennis shoes. It's nice weather, and we're out in fields, but the amount of drive time and the amount of scouting that, an outfitter or a guide must do, or just, just keeping people happy and doing breakfast, and holy cow. Yeah. I couldn't even imagine. And then you got to work the birds and know how to call them and do all that as well. So, and then, you got to process the birds when you're done. So, I'm only doing 5 geese at a time. So I can't imagine, like, I don't know what your bag limits and stuff are down there, but I know like those guys that hunt like the middle of the U.S., I guess it's pretty well. I guess your flyway comes down through Montana and whatnot, but like those guys that are hunting like Missouri and stuff for snow geese, where they're shooting 40 or 50. How do you just the time to process all those birds would be a pain in the ass.
It really is a lot of work, and that's really when the real work begins, is at the end. Their limits up here are 8 geese and 8 ducks per day per person. And then, you have a group of 8 hunters every day, and they're limiting out every day. I think the average over the season this year was just over 100 birds per day. So you've got, two of the best waterfowl guides, the guys that come up and work here are just awesome, and they work their butts off, and every day they're coming back with piles and piles of birds, dressing those and getting them ready for the clients to take home. And it's just, it's a lot of work. I got my hands dirty a couple days just to, just to experience it. I don't mind, processing my game and stuff. It's actually one of my favorite parts of the hunt, is being involved and just knowing what's going on from beginning to end with my meat and everything. But, to do it with the birds is a little bit different.
Yeah.
It's a pretty quick but messy process. It's a lot of work. It really is.
Yeah. And if someone's interested in looking at booking a hunt with Top of the Flyway or getting more information, where should they head out to?
Well, they can go to topoftheflyway.com, or we also have a Facebook page, Top of the Flyway Outfitters, on Facebook again, and we have a page on Instagram as well. It's the same thing, Top of the Flyway Outfitters.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So you guys, it's as easy as that. Again, whatever or however you're listening to this show, there's going to be a link in the description. You can always just click directly on that link. I'll provide that for you. So we got a few minutes left here. If I didn't get a chance to attend ATA last year, I ended up I think I was out of the country actually No, I was in Hawaii last year. That's a good place to be if you're going to miss ATA, right? But a lot of people may have seen a certain someone walk around ATA with a big old friggin' shed antler, and I don't even know this story. So, what is the story with this thing?
Well, the shed antler that I have is from a buck that I was hunting a couple years ago. I wasn't hunting it this year. Obviously, I've been in Canada, but
if you want to private message me those GPS coordinates, I can go check on them for you.
I'll do that right now.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you, but anyway.
You're fine. So, so I was hunting this incredible buck for 2 seasons, and going into the second season, a very elusive creature. Obviously, we wanted to probably score him somewhere in the 230 range. Non-typical. He was just an absolute giant. And,
And this is in Southern Ohio, correct?
This is in Southern Ohio. And, obviously I had my heart set on this deer. I thought, I knew he was something really special. Like he was, he was something that you only dream of. And, for months I watched this deer, hundreds of trail cam pictures. I would watch him in a field, several nights towards the end of the last season that I hunted him. And he would just never close that gap. We could never get in range. He would never make it to my set until after dark. He was very smart. But that same season, I said to myself, gosh, if I don't kill him, I just want to find his sheds. Like, just please let me find his sheds. So I end up, I go to ATA that year. And lo and behold, he shows up in my stand that Saturday morning, his first daylight appearance that he'd made, which was pretty heartbreaking to come home to and find that out. But shortly after, I didn't see him, and our season in Ohio ends the first week of February. So I hunted my ass off. Every day up until the very last day, which was Super Bowl Sunday that year. And I was just hoping for that Hail Mary, like he's going to come out, and it didn't happen. So it was probably about two weeks later, or maybe not even 2 weeks. I go out to check my cameras, cause I wanted to see if he had dropped yet, dropped his antlers. And I went out, I pulled my card. I walk, about 50 yards from where my trail camera was, had my binos with me, glassed a field, and I turned around and I look back behind from where I had walked, and there was just this beam of light coming through the trees, and it was shining down on what looked like one side of Big Boy's antlers, and I knew exactly what it was when I saw it. And it's about 50 yards from me at this point, and I could just see the way the light was hitting it. I could see this crazy frame. He was a 4-point main frame with all these crazy kickers and stickers, and my heart just immediately sunk to my stomach. And I just stood there frozen, and it was like I had just shot this deer, like that moment, like I felt like I felt in that moment exactly what I thought I would feel like if I made contact with him, if I connected on that deer. And it was the craziest feeling. You would never think you would feel that way over, finding a shed antler. Of all the antlers I found, this just didn't even compare. It felt completely different. And even when I talk about it now, it kind of gets me worked up a little bit. It was like one of those moments that I will always remember and relive. And I stood there for about what seemed like 5 minutes. I didn't move. I was just in awe. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And I was telling myself, like, no, like this, no way. It's not it. But I knew it was.
Right.
And I finally slowly walked up to it. And as I got right up on it, just tears just started flowing. And they were happy tears. They were like, it was just such an incredible feeling. It's really hard for me to explain, but I did. I think I ugly cried for like 3 minutes, but it was like a happy ugly cry. I couldn't pull it together. I just couldn't believe it. And to actually see this thing right in front of me, to, be able to pick it up and hold it, it was overwhelming. And this comes after about 3 weeks prior. I had been hunting an evening hunt, and I climbed down out of the stand, got in my truck, left the field, went around this 90-degree turn I, take on the road every time I leave. And that particular night, this 8-point buck ran out in front of me, which I slowed down for, almost came to a complete stop. And then another 8-point buck came out behind him and crossed in front of me too. Instantly, I knew that Big Boy was with him because he always ran with this bachelor group, these 2/8s. And I just had this sinking feeling again. It was almost the same feeling like I had when I saw his antler, that he was about to step out in front of my truck. And I'm sitting at a complete standstill, letting these bucks cross. And lo and behold, he just takes a little leap up onto the road right in front of my truck, stood there, turned his head, looked at me, looked back to the field, and off he went, following those two right to my set. They were going right. And in that moment, again, it was like this crazy feeling. Just, I immediately started shaking, and I couldn't pull it together. And this went on for probably about an hour or so. I was on this major high because he was right there. I mean, even though I was in my truck, it didn't matter to me. This was this, elusive creature I've been chasing for so long, and to have him so close and to see him, within 20 feet of me was absolutely incredible. I just have so many cool memories of this deer. And then, and now I have his antler, and, to get to keep it forever. Although after I found his shed, things just started to blow up, and my phone and going crazy. And I didn't realize, how magnificent of a deer this was. I mean, to me, he was all I could think about, but I didn't realize, how cool of a deer it would be to everyone else, too. And, I really wasn't prepared for all of the attention that antler would get. And
imagine what would have came your way if you harvested them.
I couldn't even. I really couldn't even. I couldn't even imagine. And honestly, I'm such a private person, and I mean, I have no problem talking to people that I know and stuff. But when it comes to meeting people and stuff in person, I'm actually a little reserved until you get to know me, So I probably would have I don't even know. I really don't. I mean, he definitely would have been a state record in Ohio for women, landslide. He was a massive deer.
So what did that, did you ever have that shed scored?
Yeah, it scored right at 103 inches.
Oh, man.
Yeah, pretty crazy. And I still, to this, even though it's been over a year, it'll be going on 2 years in February that I found it, but I still have people constantly, every time that picture resurfaces of me with the antler, or any of the pictures of the antler, people always comment and tell me that is the coolest mainframe 4-point antler.
Got so much character. Yeah,
it does. It is really unlike any other. And I have a lot of friends who are shed collectors, and I've seen lots of amazing sheds, some of the most amazing sheds that have ever been found. I've seen them. I've got to hold some of them, which is incredible. And there's just something about this shed antler that makes it so different from so many others. And, that's I have this amazing piece of history. It's pretty incredible.
To wrap up the whole story, what's going on with him now? Because I assume if he had been killed, you would know.
Yeah, and I could never find the other side. I looked everywhere I legally could. I knocked on doors. I asked every farmer around, if I could hunt their property, shed hunt. I literally, I think I put in 100 hours of footwork, and I traced and retraced, and, I grid searched
Mhm.
back and forth for a week straight. I did not stop looking for that antler. And unfortunately,
No luck.
the other side, to my knowledge, has never turned up. And it's a pretty small town. You'd think if someone had found it, you would know. But yeah, unfortunately, no, it never turned up. And so during that time, in those next few weeks, where I didn't sleep and I could do nothing but think about where the hell this other side was, I came across a shed buck that had been hit by an automobile, and it was in the exact same spot where he would cross the road nightly. And to this day, I happen to wonder if that was him,
Right.
because he never showed back up again that summer and that fall. And like clockwork, the years prior, he had been a regular. I mean, hundreds of pictures on trail cam, and then that summer and fall, nothing. And that was a sinking feeling again. It was like
You just knew.
Waiting, like he's gonna show up, and he just never showed up. And there were a couple friends of mine that hunted locally that had also had that deer on camera and had been hunting him as well, and
Mm-hmm.
no one had seen him. And one of the friends that had been close by, he said, he had been hunting that deer, and he had said to me on several occasions, that I had the best opportunity to kill that deer, if he were to come in, because his core area was pretty small. And I just, I probably had the most pictures of him of anyone. He was pretty frequent in my spot. And just when he wasn't getting pictures, and he was messaging me, have you seen him? No, I haven't seen him. And I didn't rely solely on the camera. I was out scouting, I was out driving, a pretty good couple mile radius around his core area, and sitting and glassing for hours. And I watched several bucks, and I did get finally I got some visuals on the 8s that he was always with,
Mm-hmm.
and never saw him with them. So it really takes me back to that shed buck on the side of the road that I saw that few weeks after I had found his shed. And it really brings me back to that moment, and that sinking feeling that I had when I saw that shed buck really tells me, my intuition was telling me that was him. And I mean, I really do feel like that was him, because a deer like that just doesn't up and
yeah, I agree with you
deer
too.
do disappear, but a deer like that, you're gonna know,
And especially
it's
with him
unfortunate.
being as gregarious as he was, and he's not picking off cameras and not shying away from them, he's going to show up. So it's sad to see a giant meet its end like that, but I guess getting hit by a car is somewhat better than dying of old age, being chased down and ripped apart by coyotes or whatnot. We'd always like to see, a hunter be able to not only take the trophy, but feed their family with it and whatnot. But Mother Nature's a cruel bitch sometimes,
It is.
and and no one knows that more than people that spend time out in the outdoors and understands it. But I really want to thank you for sharing that with me. I had never heard that story, so that was really cool. I've seen the pictures and seen you talk about it a little bit, but I had no idea the history. I didn't know that was a deer you were actually hunting. I thought maybe you just went shed hunting and got lucky and found it. So that was really cool. I think I picture you in that field when the light was coming down, hitting the antler, and I could just hear, oh, it's like the light coming down from the heavens or something. But once again, run us through how people can look up top of the Flyway Outdoors. Did I get it right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then, once again, run us through the contact info, all that, the services you provide, just so we can hit them one more time with that, and then I'll get you out of here.
Okay, so Top of the Flyway Outfitters are located in Northwest Alberta in the Peace River region. It's one of the most beautiful areas of Alberta. We offer waterfowl hunts, geese, and ducks, and we also do some big game hunting up here. Mule deer, whitetail, and we do spring black bear hunts. They're rut hunts, and it's kind of a remote camp out on a beautiful lake, and it includes walleye fishing if you hunt after June 1st. And it is just an amazing place to come and hunt if you ever want to experience Alberta. This is absolutely the place to do it. Just so much wildlife and so many things to see up here. And then in the wintertime, when it freezes up, we follow the migration down to Arkansas, where we offer Arkansas, the speckle belly hunts there in December and January. And then we team up with another outfitter, Eagle Head Outdoors, and they do the snow goose conservation season in February. So it's been busy pretty much all year round. You know, there's a couple months where we're not chasing animals, but we're definitely preparing for the next season, what's up next, whether it be the bears or the whitetail or geese. So there's always something going on up here.
Yeah, and unlike your sissy neighbors there to the west in British Columbia, you can actually still hunt bears in Alberta. So
that's right, except for grizzlies.
Wow.
You can't even look at them without possibly getting a ticket. I don't know.
Right?
There's definitely some skewed views on conservation between, you know, British Columbia and Alberta. And we're actually almost on the border of British Columbia. So we're very, very close.
Get it. Yeah, I understand. So, all right. That was absolutely fantastic. I like I said, when I reached out to you, I was like, we'll talk about this. And most of it was just wanting to catch up with you. I really thank you for taking the time out of your day to get on the horn with me and tell us that story. And guys, if you want to go do some top-notch, phenomenal bird hunting, waterfowl hunting, and you heard of all the other services, I've known her for a long time, and she is one of the best hunters. And if she's involved with an operation, it's going to be the best option for you. So make sure you head over to topofthe-flyway-outfitters.com or visit their Facebook page if you want to see pictures and start planning that waterfall dream hunt of a lifetime. Steph, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me again. Always a pleasure.
And once again, guys, we end the show the same way. We say, get outdoors. Get up to Alberta. It's a wild place to be. We'll see you next week.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Hoffman's Hunting Heritage. Get outdoors. It's a wild place to be.